For more on this, I'm joined from Columbus, Ohio by Peter Mansoor of Ohio State University. He's the General Raymond E. Mason Jr. Chair of Military History. Welcome to the show, Professor.
Happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, some say this troop withdrawal is too soon. Others argue it's long time coming. What's your reading?
Well, you know, if Joe Biden had his way, we would have gotten out in 2011 after the demise of Osama bin Laden. It's not unexpected that he would abide by the agreement that the Trump administration made with the Taliban to leave. The fact that he extended the deadline from 1 May to September 11th allows Afghanistan to get through another fighting season with U.S. support. It'll allow the government of Ashraf Ghani to basically get used to the new normal, life without American troops on the ground and NATO troops on the ground, and gives the diplomatic process a little bit of time as well, although I think the prospects for that are pretty dim, because the Taliban will view this as a victory, and I think they will attempt to achieve victory on the battlefield before they give away anything at the negotiating table.
But Professor, you know, the Taliban had vowed to renew attacks on U.S. and NATO personnel if the foreign troops aren't out by May 1st, that original deadline agreed by Trump. Do you think they'll follow through on that threat?
You know, they may, but I don't think it'll be a concerted effort because they understand now that there is a firm deadline from the administration that has the power to withdraw U.S. forces, not the Trump administration, which no longer is in power. So I believe the Taliban is, you know, they're pretty smart, and they're going to realize that the best thing to do is just bide their time and wait for the Americans to withdraw and the NATO forces right behind them.
Right, so peace talks between the Taliban and Afghan government, as we know, have been sputtering. How will this troop withdrawal affect the process?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to help it. I think the Taliban's going to take this as a military victory, and they're going to attempt to go full force against the Afghan security forces and see if they can't cause them to collapse without U.S. support. I think it's not going to happen because history would show that as long as the U.S. continues to fund the Afghan security forces, they probably won't completely collapse. And unfortunately for Afghanistan, I think the civil war is going to deepen and become more bloody.
Right. Well, and, you know, the Taliban remains such a formidable force still in the country. So why the pullout? Has the U.S. lost interest in the war there? What's the calculus?
Well, the American people have certainly lost interest. The policy elites less so, and that's why you're seeing this sort of divided reaction. I think when the polling comes out, the American people will be very supportive of what the president did, but you'll hear a lot of people in Congress and policy analysts and so forth who say this is the worst decision ever, and the president isn't doing the right thing.
Professor, you bring up another fighting season in Afghanistan. You know, the U.S. troops being there to support this one last season. So what happens after? What's the security situation like then?
Yeah, so after September 11th, there won't be any more U.S. or NATO troops on the ground. It's really the loss of air support that's going to hurt the most. And you'll see the Afghan security forces taking more casualties as a result. You know, this war now belongs to Ashraf Ghani. It's going to be up to him and his government to fashion a security instrument that can protect the nation. And if they can't, then the Taliban's going to take over. And that's going to have severe humanitarian consequences for the Afghan people, as we all know. The strides that women and children have made in education and other areas are going to be reversed if the Taliban take over the government again.